New fuel this morning in the battle over Uber. The on-demand car app is taking to the airwaves in New York. Uber has a blunt message aimed at the city's mayor and its taxis. But that is just one front in the company's worldwide fight to grow even bigger.
Hey, David Blasio, this new bill has got to go.
Taxi drivers and their supporters say their industry is being squeezed by less expensive, less regulated shared services. Uber, which has been accused of using unfair tactics to limit competition, says it's simply using the free market to provide a service and create jobs. Protesters have demonstrated against Uber across the globe and here in the United States. Perhaps the biggest battleground is New York City.
You need to get to the night shift in the South Bronx.
Over the weekend, Uber unveiled this commercial, a not-so-thinly veiled stab at New York cab drivers.
And while taxis often refuse people in minority neighborhoods,
New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, who has received donations from the taxi industry, has been trying to limit Uber's growth. De Blasio defended his actions in a New York Daily News editorial, writing, "From ensuring workers can make a decent living to managing the surge of more than 2,000 new cars on our streets every month, it's our responsibility to act."
It's a pretty vital service.
Presidential hopefuls have been using Uber not just for rides, but to score political points.
The reason why you can't use Uber in Miami is because an established industry, the medallion holders for taxi cabs, raise a lot of money and have influence over county government.
It's also raising hard questions about workplace protections and what a good job will look like in the future.
First on CBS This Morning, we're joined by David Plouffe. He is Uber's chief advisor and a board member. You may already know him. He served as President Obama's campaign manager in 2008. He then became a senior White House advisor. We're pleased to have him here. Welcome.
Good to be here.
First, I want you reference to the conversation we had with Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham. Here's what he said at this table. I'd love your response because you helped put Barack Obama into the White House. Here it is.
He's the Neville Chamberlain of our time.
Neville Chamberlain?
Please.
Appeasement?
Yes, he's the Neville Chamberlain of our time who believes that over the next 15 years, Iran is going to change their behavior because this deal doesn't require them to do a damn thing in terms of changing their behavior.
What do you react?
Well, those are strong words, obviously. Maybe not in the Trump category, but, you know, everyone's trying to appeal to the base. I understand that. My view is the last thing we should be doing is fighting a Mideast war, and this is a chance at peace and making sure Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon, and I hope people support the deal. Putting my old hat on for a minute.
All right. Let's turn to Uber then. Where is the fight now in New York City?
Well, in New York City, the mayor is trying to cap Uber, cap Lyft, cap every service. And what that means is it's a cap on jobs. You know, it's killing over 10,000 jobs. It means poorer service in underserved areas like the Bronx, like the Queens. So we are going to fight this with everything we have. Now, mayors here in New York and elsewhere generally don't lose city council votes, so we're an underdog. We understand that. But we think we're making progress to the argument that the last thing you should be doing, if you're trying to create jobs in a city, provide more economic opportunity, have more environmentally friendly transportation options, this is the exactly wrong thing to do. And at the end of the day, I think the motivation here is the taxi industry has showered the mayor, city council president, and others with a lot of money, and this is payback.
David, this is pretty fascinating. I mean, here you have a company, Uber, that has just hired President Obama's chief strategist. Why is politics and Uber, right, at the intersection like this? And why are you, in some ways, on the other side of where you fought in the past?
I don't think I'm on the other side. Listen, I'm so passionate about what Uber's trying to do. Every city in the world needs more income from more of their residents. This is providing a huge opportunity for tens of thousands of people in major global cities to earn a living or supplement their living. There's transportation deserts all over the world.
But you just heard the woman who might be the Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton, say that this gig economy doesn't provide the kind of workplace protections that Democrats and the party you're with has worked for in the past.
Jobs and benefits.
Yeah, I think that was an overblown reaction. She also said very positive things about it. And my suspicion over time is you'll see her embrace what this means, which is particularly, she's talked a lot in her career about flexibility. There's nothing like this in the economy what Uber provides. You drive whenever you want. People fit it around the rest of parts of their lives, and they're able to add The average Uber driver drives less than 18 hours a week. In Chicago, for instance, half our drivers drive less than 10 hours a week. They're just using it to top up their income. And for someone who's, let's say, a family's making $48,000 in Cincinnati, Ohio, one of them drives for 10 hours a week, they go from 48 to 60. That is life-changing for them. That's why I'm so passionate about what we're doing here. We need to do everything we can to bring more economic opportunity to more people.
Well, I confess I'm a Uber user. I've had, like most customers who use it, the customers really aren't complaining so much. The experience, for the most part, is good. Yeah. And when there is a kerfluffle, Uber seems to respond immediately. That said, David, there seem to be disputes in California, New York, and France. What could Uber be doing better?
Well, listen, whenever you bring a new product in that challenges the status quo, that status quo, not surprisingly, fights back. And in many cases, there's been a monopoly. The only way people have had to get around a city, other than driving themselves in many cases, is to take a taxi cab. And listen, the taxi industry is strong today, it'll be strong tomorrow. We are part of the ecosystem. And so I think that what you're seeing, though, despite some of the issues you're raising, we're operating in almost 325 cities in over 58 countries. 50 places in the U.S. alone have passed new laws in the last 6 months to permit Uber and Lyft to operate.
But they're saying the cities can't handle the traffic, that they can't handle the influx of cars.
Well, the only person saying that is Mayor de Blasio, and it's complete nonsense. If you want to reduce congestion, what you want is less people driving their own personal cars, and that's what we're able to do.
There are also people who are saying Uber's been way too aggressive and that it's had to pull back.
No, I think what we're trying to do, the demand's there. People are clamoring for more transportation options, and people are clamoring to drive on the platform. And so what we're trying to do is provide an opportunity. And listen, I'm speaking at a conference today about the cities of tomorrow. We are going to have a population influx in urban areas of historic proportions over the next 10 years. Most of those cities can't build new subway lines. Most of those cities can't even build new roads. The only way to deal with it is to have less people driving their personal cars. We're part of that solution.
And you know who's supporting you, though, is Jeb Bush, who went out to Silicon Valley, and most of the Republican candidates are saying, well, we're in favor of the shared economy.
Right. Well, I think we have a lot of support in both parties. As I said, 50 places in the U.S. have passed new laws over the last 6 months, Democrats and Republicans. So there's a lot of support for what we're doing and other companies are doing.
Yeah. Jeb Bush, who took Uber and rated his driver, Munir, 5 stars. You guys must have been doing the hula over at the Uber offices that day. The visual of that was very interesting.
Well, here's the thing. We've already been in the news a lot. The truth is a lot of people still don't even know what Uber is. So an incident like that has a lot of people saying, well, what is Uber? I'll download the app. So we were grateful for the attention and the support.
Can I ask you just quickly, because I've talked to some people on both sides of this debate who say one of the other problems, too, is that some of the local governments are concerned because they're not getting the Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid taxes that normally an employer would pay in as well. How do you deal with that?
Well, first of all, let's look at New York City, where we are today. I mean, taxi drivers, limo drivers, almost all of them are independent contractors. Okay, so it's no different than the Uber model. And I think, again, the vast majority of Uber drivers, they or their spouse have other full-time employment. They're using this as a supplement. And I think we ought to listen to the market a little bit here, which is people are clamoring to drive on the platform. They're being referred by their friends, by their family members. They think this is a good thing for them and their family, and I think cities ought to be embracing it.
David, I have to go. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
On
you.
tonight's CBS Evening News, Anthony Mason takes a closer look at the fight between Uber and New York City.